Have you ever stopped to wonder how many of my beliefs are actually mine? We like to think that we've built our worldview through our own careful thought and independent judgment, but the truth is, most of our beliefs didn't start with us. They were handed to us, sometimes gently, sometimes forcefully, sometimes so subtly that we didn't even notice. Hi, my name is Michael Hales. I'm one of the M's in M Squared Leadership Consulting alongside my wife, Michelle. Here on this channel, we're exploring the deep and often hidden ways that self-limiting beliefs shape our lives and our leadership and how to break free from them. Today's question is a big one. Where do most of our beliefs come from? You might be surprised at how many of them aren't original at all. They're hand-me-downs. They're stories we inherited. In earlier videos, we talked about how self-limiting beliefs can form from experiences like failure, like criticism, or our brain's tendency towards self-protection. But today I want to explore another powerful source, the stories we inherit. These are the beliefs that came from our family, our culture, our communities, and the authority figures who've shaped our early world. And because they've been with us so long, they can become some of the hardest to spot and the hardest to question. Many of our deepest beliefs come from family. Maybe you grew up in a home where money was always scarce, so you inherited the belief money is hard to come by. Maybe your parents constantly emphasized safety and stability, and so you learned risk is dangerous. Stay in your lane. Or maybe you were always told, in our family, we don't do things like that, whatever that is. Now, families are wonderful. They give us love, wisdom, and guidance, and they pass down all sorts of paradigms and traditions and ways of doing life. In my family, for example, we never made a big deal over birthdays. We acknowledged them, but in small ways. We didn't have a lot of build up to them, or we didn't celebrate them with big parties or anything like that. A birthday was just basically another day, only moderately more special than the others. But in Michelle's family, it was the exact opposite. I learned quickly that birthdays were a big deal. And as much as my family was low-key about them, hers got super excited and made them into special occasions. Now, neither way is right or wrong, but they are very different. And once we got married, we had to decide how we would do birthdays in our family. It's probably fair to say we landed somewhere in the middle. And just like our families pass down ways of doing things, they also pass down fears, biases, and limitations, sometimes without meaning to. Beyond family, there's the culture we're raised in. Every culture has its own unwritten rules, rules about what success looks like, what roles men and women are supposed to play, what normal means, and who gets excluded from that definition. These messages are powerful because they're shared by so many of the people around us. When everyone knows something, we rarely stop to ask, okay, but is it true? Let me give you an example. You've probably heard the phrase, that's good enough for government work. Most of the time, people mean that as an insult, as something half done, as barely acceptable or low quality. But that's only half the story. Originally, during World War II, that phrase meant the exact opposite. If a product was good enough for government work, that means it had met the highest possible standards. It was approved for military use, where lives literally depended on precision and on reliability. Over the decades, though, the meaning flipped, and today it's shorthand for mediocrity. Why? Well, because somewhere along the way, the cultural story changed and people just kept repeating it until it stuck. That's how beliefs work too. a phrase, a lesson, a mindset gets handed down, and without realizing it, we absorb it as our own. Institutions like schools, churches, or even our workplace are another major source of inherited beliefs. We absorb beliefs about authority, success, morality, identity, and some are life-giving, and others can become invisible chains. Now, I want to clarify, it's not my aim to encourage you to reject everything that's been handed to you. Institutions often carry wisdom, but the danger is when we accept everything uncritically, never testing what actually aligns with our values or what might be holding us back. Oh, and let's not forget our peers, the friends and classmates and coworkers who are all around us. They set powerful norms. If your peer group says, don't try too hard or you'll look like a nerd, you may learn to stay small. If your group values achievement, you might learn to tie your worth to your accomplishments. Sometimes peer-driven beliefs stick with us for decades, long after those peers are gone from our lives. Now, here's why all this matters. Self-limiting beliefs inherited from family, culture, or community can feel the most true because they're so deeply embedded. But they're also the most worth questioning. Ask yourself, is this belief mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? Does it reflect my values or just someone else's fears? We inherit a lot of stories. Some of them are worth cherishing. Stories of resilience, faith, love. But others, well, there can also be a lot of outdated scripts that don't serve us anymore. The good news is, and we've said this before, you can rewrite your story. You can thank the past for what it gave you and still choose to move forward with beliefs that align with who you are becoming. This week, I encourage you to ask yourself, what's one belief I inherited that I never stopped to question? Because if you don't question it, you may never realize it was never really yours to begin with. In our next video, we'll ask, what does it cost you to keep believing something that limits you? The hidden cost of holding back might be higher than you realize.